The Claydon system is the result of years of real testing on real farms by real farmers. Our system is the original and the best. Used in over 20 different countries around the world on different soil types and climatic conditions. It's an innovation that is proven to be increasing yields and cutting costs. Just ask any farmer who is using the Claydon system.
Before we had a Claydon drill, we were very much a traditional setup here in that we had a plough, power harrow, we also had a drill combination, and we were getting into min-till, which wasn't going well for us, and we didn't like the way it was going, and we were looking to do something different. And within 3 days of visiting the Claydon farm, we bought a Claydon drill.
Before we ran a quad track and a large cultivator, and had all the costs associated with that.
We were ploughing everything and then power harrow combination drilling, which was fine, but behind potatoes last autumn it was so wet we couldn't plough. So we thought we'd try a Claydon on demo. We've tried it and it's worked very well. And it's very simple. We like simple machinery. There's nothing really complicated about it at all.
We were basically using a plough, either the plough system or a sumo trio for cultivations. This we then followed up with using a cultipress, having to go 2 parcels in the autumn at least, possibly a third time, which was when we realised that with the fuel prices keep escalating and what have you, we realised then that we needed to be looking at what cultivations we were doing to try to see if we could get our costs down.
We had been on all sorts of different systems, from ploughing to deep cultivating, all the while trying to make seed beds a little bit easier. And eventually, 7 years ago, I decided I would try and do the whole job on my own, and the Claydon drill is what has enabled me to do that.
When we went with the Claydon system, we decided we'd really go for it. So we had a wholesale clear out really, and started all new. I don't regret about selling any of that machinery because all of it would have been totally unused and just sitting in the nettles rusting up.
The Claydon drill can be used on any soil types with any crop rotation, and our machines work effectively into cultivated and uncultivated ground.
Well, we've got potatoes, which are done by a contractor, sugar beet done by us, wheat and linseed. We think it will work fine. Potatoes will always have to be ploughed. Sugar beet we're not sure yet, but we followed a sugar beet harvester with a demo and a potato harvester, and it worked fine with both.
The drill is very easy to operate. Control panel, excellent, easy to operate, easy to control, easy to calibrate. We've used it on oilseed rape, winter wheats, and this spring we've also used it on peas and spring beans, and a little bit of spring barley as well. Peas gone in well, we've got them into moisture, and the peas were up within 2 weeks, and these peas are now only been in the ground about 5 weeks, and they look pretty good.
The farm is virtually all clay loam. Some of it is well drained, and some of it is very poorly drained, and some of it is the drains are non-existent. So the challenges of the farm are, if it turns wet, certain parts of the farm are very difficult to work. We've clearly seen a yield increase in the last couple of years. 2013 was our best harvest ever, but even 2012 we'd seen quite an increase. So from where we were, our long-term average before, to where we are now, we've probably jumped perhaps 20-25%.
We're farming mainly first wheats with herbs and rape, and we will be going back into sugar beet next year. It's generally medium to light. We do have some heavy land, and that is drilled the best that I've ever come across it, and other people on the farm have said to me about that as well.
Progressively through the years we've been using the Claydon drill. If you look at the soil in the top couple of inches, you can see the organic matter depth is increasing, and if you dig the first 2 or 3 inches off, you'll see a lot of very old rotten straw in the top there and several wormholes.
One of the many benefits of the Claydon drill, when used directly into stubble, is moisture conservation, giving a fast, reliable and even germination to your crops.
This is Solstice. It was drilled the first week of December, 180 kilos a hectare, direct behind a self-propelled sugar beet harvester, a big roper with terra tyres that had rolled it completely flat, sort of crabbed along the field. So we went straight in with the Claydon hybrid, no cultivations or anything. And if we have a look here, if I can pick it up cleanly, you see that we've got a good root structure there, plenty of, very crumbly, this soil's crumbly anyway, but there's lots of roots there. There's still moisture there. We've had a very dry March and April, and we really need rain.
Well, we haven't had a decent rain since the beginning of March. We've just had bits and pieces which sort of dampens the top. We've just, as you can tell by the colour of the crops, we've had enough to get a little bit of nitrogen in, and it surprises me it looks so well. Certainly the spring drilling for barley, it seems to work very well, yeah.
Well, we had a crop of Santiago on here last year, and it did just touching 13 tonnes a hectare, which we were very pleased with. Yep.
How did you find the drill drilling into chopped straw?
Absolutely no problem at all. This field in particular, there was an awful lot of straw on it, and it just didn't block. It never blocked once.
Where we'd ploughed and power harrow drilled, it let a lot of moisture, it let it dry out a lot, and we still drilled some linseed this year with a power harrow drill because we'd already ploughed before we went and bought this. And the establishment with this has been a lot better than the power harrow, which is now coming through, but because it was so dry this spring, this drilled into moisture and that didn't.
The biggest problem we had, certainly with these soils, are that once you've ploughed them or cultivated them, they do dry out very rapidly in the autumn if we've got dry autumns. And the big problem was, yeah, we cultivate them, press them a couple of times, but that time we've lost all the moisture. We're having to press it again, and then we just ended up with a very dry seedbed. Using the conventional air drill, we was then finding it difficult to get the actual drill in the ground into a very, very dry seedbed on this type of soils. With the Claydon drill, we found that by going straight in on the stubbles, that we've managed to retain the moisture. The soils are very easier to work like that, and the crops have come up within a week, 10 days, we've got establishment of wheat.
And it's not just productivity and ease of use, it's savings in equipment, diesel and labour.
Well, the costs have just sort of dropped through the floor really. I know that running the drill costs us £4 to £4.50 an acre, whereas probably with ploughs, power harrows and the other drills that we had, we were probably in a region of £10, £12 an acre. It varied depending on what the season was, so running costs of the machinery is a lot lower. All of that machinery has been sold, so we've had the benefit of all those machinery sales, and probably the biggest saving that's most noticeable is diesel. We've probably saved £10,000 a year just on fuel alone, which is a significant amount of money really.
We're quite surprised that our fuel for this last year was £12,000 down on the previous year, and this is just on the first year of using the Claydon system in the autumn. Still on the first front tines, set of front tines, and they'll do another season as yet. I think we must have drilled about 600 acres with those tines at the moment.
Using the Claydon drill, I can do 95% of the work on my own without any outside help at all.
It's a pretty cheap drill to run.
When you buy into the Claydon system, you don't just get a drill. You get years of experience and the backup of a dedicated team of experts ready to offer advice, help and support that's second to none.
The service that we've had from Claydon's has been good. They've always been very helpful. There's always been someone at the end of the phone if you've had a problem. The open meetings and the backup side of it and all of that sort of thing is very good, and I think there's always something to learn.
Real farmers, real improvements and real results. The Claydon system, the original and the best.